Hello, Mechwarriors, and welcome to the Mechbay, where we fix your mech and fix your game. What's going on, Mechwarriors? I'm your host, Josh, and I've got my two semi-favorite co-hosts, Dustin and Denham, in the hot seats today. What's going on, gentlemen?
Hell, howdy.
Not much today.
And we've got a fourth lance mate today for some community spotlight, some tournament recap, and some just general BattleTechery. Is that even a word? Am I allowed
It
to
is
say
now.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lord Carbon.
Hello, Internet.
What's going on? Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate the hot seat over here. Looks like you guys could have cleaned that a little better, though.
Oh, look,
Well, hopefully you get your cooling vest hooked in.
it gets hosed out once a year. That's what Kamosha requires, and we follow regulations.
It just happens to be tomorrow, not today.
We'll have to get someone from the Discord to work on that.
So, for those of you who don't know, Lord Carbon is, I want to say, the pre-center marshal of NashCon, the BattleTech tournament in Nashville, Tennessee, the MechCommander Review Circuit, which is a event organization / BattleTech format, and also an organizer of his own MegaMek online tournament. So he's really got his hands in all of the reactors. But I'll let you introduce yourselves to everyone.
Okay, hello again, Lord Carbon. For those who know me on Discord, Jonathan. For those who know me in real life, my local boys, I shout out to them. So I got a couple things we do, mostly MRC related. With this tied in its mini Hydra heads is we do a format in both Classic and Alpha Strike. That also ties into the big event we do in August, which is NashCon. It's hard to describe without, going into great detail. So
you do a lot, so I wanted to bring you on kind of to talk about, like I said, you've really ran two events in its own event format, and they're kind of interchangeable. There is a glue that binds them all together, but they're all different. So you could do one without doing the other. And like I said, we've got two tournaments essentially to recap. So talking meta, talking lists that worked and stuff like that. So,
well, NashCon was an Alpha Strike tournament. It was a Classic tournament. And then if you want to talk Southern Assault, or not Southern Assault, I'm so excited for that, by the way. I'm talking about Summer Heat, another S word. We have that one to talk about too, which is a whole nother format, meta on its own that's growing. Those MegaMek boys have been putting it in the games. They are wearing me out.
Well, let's recharge you, and we'll hit some hobby news, some hobby progress, and some games played real quick just to get that, coolant flowing. I think the big news of the last week is Catalyst has released their Urban Mech Company box set, which means
that is the smallest big news I've ever heard.
Is it small because of what's in it, or big because we all want it?
Yes.
Yes. But yes, that's the buy 12 trash cans and use them all at once.
360 tons of AC-10 platform.
They sell them by the dozen now.
Oh, God.
Literally.
Come on down to Duncan Davian's and get yourself a dozen Urban Mechs.
Defend the city in a package.
You'll need all 12.
Yeah. Is it the Overlord that carries the company?
Yeah, but this one will fit in the Leopard.
Yeah. You just stack
They
them up.
stack.
Nesting Urbies.
Yeah, I think retail price for that is $60. So coming out to, pretty reasonable. I feel like this is more like the group gift, you and your friends all split,
Yeah.
This
four
is
Urban
the one
Mechs.
that you tell your friends that you're going to split it with somebody, but you're not. You're getting it just for yourself.
Exactly. This is you tell your wife you're getting it.
That's the
splitting
one.
it.
Yes.
There you go.
Yep. And you can keep them all. This is a joke mission in a box. $60 gets you your fluffy city raid mission. Did you really bring 12 Urban Mechs? I did. You don't know where they are.
It goes well with my stuffed Urban Mech. We named Carl Urban Mech, and now he's got his little followers.
Oh, but Yeah, so I think that's good. I think everyone was waiting to see if we could get the Urban Mech again. Didn't it just come out in the single plastics again?
Correct. The stores are able to order the Urban Mech salvage boxes, so you can get them individually, but you can also get them by the dozen. Someone hit the wrong print button volume when they're making some salvage boxes, and they're like, "Oh crap! What are we gonna do with this?"
Let's move on to some hobby progress. I want to know what Lord Carbon has had on his painting /assembly / hobby bench lately.
Well, I've been working on my Southern Assault list. If you're on the Discord, you would have seen pictures of it. My red, white, and blue boys, my Star Spangled Banner nerds. That's what I've been really been working on. Hopefully, I got all the mechs done. I'm gonna probably got the rest of the non-mech forces, which I'm not telling Josh because I'm gonna make him sweat it out the entire time because he already asked me.
Why does no one tell me? It's not like I even know what I'm taking until the day before.
Listen, it's one of those things. I don't know. I mean, it's you want to tell people, but then you're like, oh well. Will they?
A magician does not reveal his secrets.
Wargamers are superstitious.
Yes,
not a little stitious.
Take your dice to the Catholic priest the Sunday before you game.
That's what I've been doing wrong.
Dustin, what have you done hobby progress wise lately?
I cleaned and organized. Did a little bit of that. My hobby progress has been theory crafting Southern Assault lists. I've been cooking that.
Have we all just been doing Southern Assault? Like we can all raise our audio format hands. Yeah, it's all four of us. Okay,
we're about a month out. It's time to get cracking.
Hey, I got a game in today for it. So
Denham.
I did. I got a game in today.
Oh boy,
nice.
I did. Yeah.
You play your 375 list?
I did play my 375 list, and now I got a ton of notes about exactly what I need to strip out of it. Yeah, put in something else.
I ran my list.
I'm not going to say the game was horrible, but it was bad enough that I'm scrapping a decent part of my list.
It doesn't have a Timberwolf in it?
It still does, yeah.
Does it have the
still
A?
Does. Of course. I'm not taking any other. Is there any other Timberwolf? Question mark.
The one that I ran.
No, I honestly have too many elementals in it right now. Oh. That's what I decided. Whoa. After I play it again, I may decide that I took too many out. I don't know. We're going to find out.
Such is the way.
Yeah.
No plan survives contact with the Southern Assault enemy.
No.
But yeah, my hobby progress has been nothing besides list making. Making a list, checking it twice. And I'm stuck between Weird Comstar or Weird Sea Foxes. Took Sea Foxes last year, had fun.
Did you?
Okay,
you only won.
That's a good question if I had fun, though. Did I have
Does Josh have fun?
At the tournament? Yes. Did I have fun taking the Sea Foxes? Maybe.
You have to go
No
higher.
existential questions on podcast night.
No existential questions. Fine. But yes, I got 2 games in of my Alpha Strike list practice. Again, I've got my butt kicked both times, so we're back to the drawing board.
I don't know if losing by 1 point is getting your butt kicked.
It's metaphorically.
I understand.
Ricky Bobby, second place is first loser.
I'm getting all the losses out now, maybe. Yeah. Can I say that? No, okay. But yeah, I played David /Warwolf. I played his clan Ghost Bear, and he brought some Intersphere mechs, and oh man, those were some hard hitters, especially at 375 points. That's a lot of tonnage.
Yeah.
And you pay a lot for C3, I'll put it that way. So
oh yeah. So the guy I played, if we're doing names, I did Andrew /Anvari on the Discord, and he had a Steiner army also with some C3.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
It was frightening.
It's definitely scary. I don't know if it pays for itself though. Like you pay so much for it. I'm not going to give any spoilers. It was scary. Okay. So, it doesn't work for me. It works for them.
I think it depends on how much you use in your army.
Okay. So was this a full 4, 5, 6? Like how many C3 were we talking in this? Just to quickly brain power it. Was it sprinkled or was it the full thing?
Sprinkled.
Okay. I think sprinkled is the way to go. I'm 0-2 right now for practice games, and Denham is also
0-1.
There we go. And Dustin?
0 and 0. 0? I have 1, 0. 0 and 1. That's how
There you go. Ooh, Mechbay's coming in strong for practice games.
That's right. We're professionals.
Carbon, have you
Just
gotten
giving
any
them
practice games in yet?
Oh no! Come on, who's got time for practice games?
We're giving them a false sense of security.
No, we were theory crafting on the MRC Discord. Someone, Chandler, was like, "Hey, if you haven't signed up, do so." And I was like, "Oh right, I forgot." So I was like, I signed up, paid my PayPal, and you know what? I was like, I'm so excited. I submitted my list right then and there. No, no practice, no long-term theory crafting. Just sent it, and now I'm like,
I'm excited about playing you.
yeah, have I made mistakes? I think I've made mistakes, but we're gonna try them out anyways.
Ah, yes, I immediately regret this decision.
Oh yes, totally.
But normally we take a break, but let's just roll on through, because what is MRC? What is the MechCommander Review Circuit that Lord Carvin
You didn't do it
is
in enough
charge?
air quotations for the viewers at home.
Who is this 4chan?
Oh, you ready for that?
Yeah.
Okay. The MRC stands for MechCommander Review Circuit. It's the name is very similar to MRBC, as some people may have pointed out before. It was done intentionally because we all like the MRBC because we're all mercs deep down inside our little bitty heart. But what the MRC is, it's a standardized format for quick play and match play. It's multi-head Hydra since its initial concept. But the basic too long didn't read version is that it is a format for Classic and Alpha Strike that you can play, that has a standardized set of rules that hopefully you could walk into your local game store and go, hey, I have an MRC list. I would like to play a game. Your opponent goes, well, so do I. Convenient there. And then you sit down, you roll dice, and you're playing. No matter where you go, that's the intent. So that's what we've been shooting for. Since then, it's now a tournament format. It's a role-playing system. It's a territory warfare system. It's a lot of things. We like to call it MechForce 2.0. Any of you old guys? Yeah.
Denham shaking his head.
MechForce. We consider ourselves MechForce 2.0, the Electric Boogaloo.
I still have my little dog tag with my MechForce ID on.
There you go.
See,
See,
right over there.
We took those basic rules that those gentlemen who make MechForce all the way back in the day in FASFA. MechForce was a system to where you could keep track of your battles, and it assigned you points like a ELO, and it gave you faction ranks, and then your factions, and you basically could role play you being whoever you are, and no matter who you played, you guys could send it in, and it counts to the global standings. They would do global events. They would do other things, but mostly it was like a standings thing. Hey, you played, good job. Here's some internet bounty points before there was an internet for playing. And so we took that idea and we've now tried to bring it up to a more modern era. And we've added quite a different things. But the basic bones of MRC, if you go in there and read the rules packet and you get to the part where we're talking about all the numbers, is straight up MechForce with some minor calculation changes. But that's what it does. So what you do is you sign up for MRC, then you and your friends play either in a tournament or ranked games, which just means just you and your friend play. You submit your results to us at command. We tally up all the magic numbers, and then we spat out a standing. The whole point of the system is to encourage you to play. It's very much like an ELO in a lot of new games. If you play any ranked games like League of Legends or StarCraft 2 or anything like that.
Chess.
Except for we're not like chess because we're not net zero yet.
Oh, okay.
We encourage you to play so there's a handicap. So as you gain ranks, there's less and less of a handicap until you get to the last top rank. And then it's a net zero like chess and a lot of other video games. Because we just want you to play. We just want you to roll dice. That's the whole point behind this, is because when we started this, our local area was kind of hibernating. Mm-hmm. And so we decided to Why not just not even try to take the shock pads and revitalize the local area, but let's just do it for everyone, because there was no standard format. There was no, okay, I have mechs, where do I go from here? I have the intro tech done, where do I go from here? You asked everyone, and you got about a million different questions or a million different answers. So we were like, we'll just kind of combine all the best ideas, and then with some help of some of our local guys, we found MechForce, decided, ooh, this is really good. Long story short, again, is now we're on season 3 almost next year. Season 3, big changes there. But it's basically a standings format. You can come in. If you go on the MRC Discord, you'll see me as Force Leader Carbon, because I am compelling, and my compelling rank is now Force Leader because I've done enough in-game events and out-of-game events, because we track both. So if you write action reports, you take pictures, you run tournaments, you run events, you do all these things that contributes to your faction rank, and that's a nice fancy title you can throw around at people and go, if you're a pirate lord, I'm pirate lord so-and-so, because people like that. I mean, we all like titles.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's very similar to, what is it, the Warhammer ITC, where it's less of like structured missions and all that. It's just like ranking for like you to compare and play against yourself and kind of work to be a better war gamer in that sense. Like, it's less about, this tournament is using these missions outlined. It's meeting these few requirement bullet points, and then your score can be tracked.
Correct. We have a bare minimum requirement of missions, for ranked games, as we call them, which is just you and your buddy, or tournaments for a group of guys that can go all the way down to 4 to X amount. We also do MegaMek stuff. We tabletop simulator. Basically, any way you can play BattleTech, if you give us the basic stats that we need, and you're signed up, we will track it, and we will slap a magical number to make you feel good next to your name.
Nice.
What separates MRC? Like, what are the few requirements? Like, you play in the Jihad era kind of thing? Like,
so basically, with MRC, we track 2 things: combat score and faction rank. I provided the Mechbay podcast, which those viewers at home can't see right now, a nice fancy flow chart, because that's how crazy this is behind the scenes. You'll see that, okay, you play your games, and then you'll see you get a combat score and a faction rank. Combat score is literally you playing the game. How well you do, how many games you have. It's really BV related. We do right now in season 2, which ends in December. It is 9,000 max BV for Classic, 500 PV for Alpha Strike.
Max, right?
Max. Those 2 numbers, that's one of the bullet points you have to reach. You can't go higher than that. You can go lower if you and your opponent want to be a little lower battle value. If you want to do 6,000, cool. As long as you match. It's something different from MechForce for those older players may remember that it didn't care. We decided we were going to care just because it helps us with numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll see with combat scores, so that number you'll get a number, and that will go up, and you'll get a rank assigned with it. You start at green 4, green 3, and you go up. It's just like many video games and stuff. You get a title, gold, silver, diamond league, whatever, all the way to elite. And at an elite level, that's where it's net 0. So there's no modifiers. So if you lose bad, you lose bad. If you win big, you win big. And that's really where, once people get there, because it'll take a while. This is not they'll blow through it in just 2 or 3 games. We have MRC, just like MechForce was set up, to be years. In fact, there's bonuses for years of play. The longer you play and you're part of the community, the more points you get, up to a certain amount, and that's all ties into what we call the faction rank. Faction rank is your very fluffy, okay, if you want to do narrative games, or you just want, like I said, the fancy titles, that is participation. That's your gold ribbon for, hey, thanks for playing. I like it. We were debating whether or not to keep it, but I was really big about we need to have it because I don't know, because I want to be a Force Leader. I don't know how it's cool. I can put that on my Discord, thing.
Well,
I'm Force Leader Carbon.
It's good to reward playing,
Well, that's the whole system.
Because some people, different players play for different things. Some people want to roll the dice and just get those, endorphins going. And some people want to compete. So I think you've got a competitive rank, and then you've got a rank for just playing, which both
Correct.
of those things are important. Okay.
Yeah.
And they like the faction rank also ties into all our non-outside game stuff. So, hey, if you only play every so often, but hey, you want to write a action report about it, boom, here's some faction rank points for it. Oh, you did a really cool paint scheme? Faction rank points for it. You wrote a short story? Cool, here you go. Here's some faction rank points for it. Oh, you role played with your buddy over here, and you guys did this whole narrative faction rank points for it. It's almost the Oprah. You get a car. You get a car. You get a car.
Like I said, I'm going to relate back to Warhammer. They did have faction, because if someone wanted to be I want to be the best comm star player, that was something probably more achievable than I want to be the best player in the state. Like
and we keep track of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So rewarding faction score is very important in my opinion. Like, it's half the fun.
It is it's a lot of the fun. I mean, if you get on our Discord and you see it, there is a lot of faction trash talk. I mean, more so than most BattleTech servers, that we poke each other across faction lines hard, and it's all in fun. But yeah, the faction stuff is really important for quite a few of our players, and me included, because like I said, I like the idea of I have a fancy title. It's something fun.
So I know an hour to the east of us, they're MRC BattleTech players. So who are like the main groups? So this is set up to be like worldwide, but you've got a few like hot spots, don't you?
Yes, it is set up to be worldwide. The biggest hub is my local group, Middle Tennessee. These boys are ravenous and competitive, and what was supposed to be a fun, hey, let's have fun, is turned into this season into, we need more tournaments. Why don't we have more tournaments? Let's hurry up with those tournaments.
Because the TO is busy.
Well, I mean, to be fair, our local group this year and last year has had 6 tournaments.
Oh my God.
Not including NashCon. I run one every other month.
Blake have mercy.
Well, and that's not enough for some of these boys. We get a lot of BattleTech over here.
No kidding.
Okay, so we have us. A lot of the stuff is, local. Like locally, I run Jihad right this year because we had some Word of Blake players. This is where if you go on there, you see a lot of people talking about Jihad. We do for MRC, we do where you need to pick an era and a faction, and that's what you have to build and submit your list for. So for me, I picked Sainai/Capellan, and that's usually my faction rank. But I also maybe one tournament might run Comstar because we don't really care. You can run whatever. You can change it between tournaments. It all goes to your faction rank players. We also have the Coastal Carolinas, is what they're calling themselves. That's probably the ones you're talking about, Josh. They're just an hour away from you. Those boys joined us for NashCon our first year, which was 2 years ago, when I didn't know what I was doing. And they ate it up hook, line, and sinker. And now they're doing that own thing down there. And we have a group in Long Island, BattleTech, who's also been trying to propagate and start a group up there who's bought into the system.
The Long Island people will kill you if you don't say on Long Island.
Oh, I'm sorry. On Long Island. Thank you for saving my life.
You're welcome.
But the system is set up that anyone, anywhere can play. Again, that's why we do MegaMek. That's why we do Tabletop Simulator, because we realize not everyone has time to go or doesn't have is not blessed by Blake to have a local group that is active. And again, the whole premise is we want you to play BattleTech.
So like one person could join, and as long as the person they're playing is playing at like the same points level, that MechWarrior can submit their results and have it added to their combat score.
Correct. As of Season 2, which is this year, which is winding down, Season 3 next year is a whole change of craziness. We're trying to be more inclusive and widening the floodgate of what is MRC. Like prime example, Chandler, if you're listening, we're adding tanks. You can stop complaining about it. I heard you, man. We have tanks.
Bro, we're the tanks.
Yeah, that's a big thing. We didn't. We were this year. We're just battle mechs and battle armor. Next year, we are practically everything will be legal.
Total Warfare, right?
Yeah, Total Warfare.
Nice.
All my points went into a dropship.
That would depend on your TO. or your event organizer, as we call it. That's what we're doing. We're switching a lot of the decision making to the event organizer because every group is different, and the whole idea that we're like, we'll just get everyone under one banner, and we'll ride this banner off into the sunset as one big happy family. It's just not working. It's just BattleTech players are all ingrained in their own thing because they've been doing their own thing for so long. Because there has been no standard format or anything like that in the greater BattleTech community. So every little group does their thing a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to be more inclusive so that these little groups can have their players and their events counted, and we can be the big happy BattleTech community that we hope to be and dream for.
No, that's awesome. I mean, you can run your own event, you can write your own missions, and you can just submit your score for faction-wise and see how you compare to other people, which is the goal. Like, it's just kind of you raising your flag and it's like, look what I'm doing over here. I'm playing BattleTech.
And the really cool thing I've really enjoyed, besides the competitive side, which obviously everyone thinks about, our MegaMek boys who've joined us since the first MegaMek tournament we ran a couple months ago have been nonstop ranked gaming amongst themselves. And it has been absolutely thrilling for me to watch their number go higher and higher and higher as they play more and more and more. You know, it's that personal. You can watch as you play. You can watch yourself get better, right? You can watch yourself over the years or over the months, your number get higher as you get better.
Who is this princess guy submitting all these points for MegaMek?
Oh, Princess would be so high. Oh my gosh.
Sorry, all I can think about is I hear Princess is really cool. I hear Princess has an 8-pack. So let's talk about it. So the MegaMek event that you're talking about was the Southern Heat MegaMek tournament, correct?
Yes, Summer Heat.
Summer Heat. So
Summer Heat. In the middle of July.
Yeah, I was actually disappointed. I had so much stuff happening in July that I was like, well, man, the one MegaMek tournament I would love to do because I can just take things and just play on my computer like 8 o'clock in the evening. Like,
oh yeah,
it's so easy, and I still don't have time for it. And it's like curses. But why don't you talk about that? Like, what the overall like format was? What were their missions? Were there like restrictions, stuff like that? Basic things.
Okay, Summer Heat. We did it in July. 9K BV set in Jihad era. Players had to pick their faction. So, for example, when you submitted a list, you'd pick, okay, I'm running Mercenary, I'm running Ghost Bears, Federated Sons, Clan Wolf, and you would go to the Master Unit list, and that would be your Bible. Whatever the Master Units list said you had for your faction for that era, that's the list of units you could pick that would be legal. We just did Battle Armor and Battle Mechs, because that's what Season 2 for MRC is running right now. The mission-wise, because both me and Warning, who's my other half, he does all the number crunching, and he is the actual man behind the curtain. I'm just the mouthpiece.
Wizard of Oz.
Yes, pretty much. We don't have a lot of experience with MegaMek, and we wanted to do missions, but we didn't know how. So we're like, all right, so the mission is murder each other, which is pretty boring, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, but it brought some really interesting lists. And players played on a random map. That was the one thing we tried to do, a random map, because locally, that's one of my big sticklers locally is I make them. You don't know what map you're playing on until you get there, and I mix them up every round, and they're usually really hard maps, like the Tukid maps. That's because we haven't done missions very much in MRC yet. We're working on it. But the way I thought that equaled the playing field for both players, instead of it being, grasslands 1 and 2 and being wide open, was okay, now you both have to deal with the terrain. Because that's one equalizer, I think, in BattleTech that people forget about is the map is the third player.
Especially if you're just doing random, like the amount of maps on MegaMek. That can
on MegaMek, it's insane. Yeah. Like, that's when I got giddy as a schoolgirl as I watched some of these crazy maps that the MegaMek spit out. I'm like, I wish I could print this off and use this because it's amazing. But whoever killed the most BV after 2.5 hours, 15 turns was our max time limit / movement time won. And then we calculated BV lost versus BV killed versus BV lost. We also use force withdrawal rules, which is an optional rule. Well, I think it should be non-optional. But eventually for tournament play, it does help speed up things. because it does add some strategic choice or tactical choices.
Man,
as things die or almost die.
What are you thinking, Dustin?
I'm just like, here's a TO, and I'm just like TO on TO. Like I ran force withdrawal in my first tournament, but a lot of people are like, I don't like force withdrawal. Why? Because they don't know what's force withdrawal.
Oh God, yeah, okay.
See, I knew it. I knew it.
Yes. Again, we could talk about that for an hour because it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it has to be in there. It has to be. Otherwise, there's a certain group of mechs, basically zombie mechs, just won't die, and it turns into you spend the last 5 turns just kind of shuffling around each other unless you have force withdrawal.
Yeah.
Once players learn it, though, it's nice. It just takes a while. It takes a while. We still have issues after 12 plus tournaments of usually the same guys, and we're still like, okay, what is force withdrawal again? Hang on, let me get that book because
the big thing, it's not gyro hits. Like gyro hits don't count. 2 gyro hits, you're down, you can't move. You're not in force withdrawal.
Nope.
That's right. Yep. You can flop around on the ground and shoot. Josh's favorite rule.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
Right.
We had that big in this tournament exactly. That was a big thing because we used the MegaMek force withdrawal. People get knocked down, 0 movement. They probably should be in force withdrawal, but according to the rules, no. So what do you do? Tia, what do I do? Well, you flop around and shoot things.
You be a turret.
Yeah, you hope you just your initiative sync. As gamey as terrible as that sounds, that's just what we had to work with.
I hate force withdrawal. I just want to die like real fast or not.
Depending on what you bring, you will. In your XLs, force withdrawal really ain't gonna matter.
Okay,
extra light.
Yeah, really, what this curve tells is like, for example, for Innisphere players versus clan players, right? Is that Innisphere players can bring the zombie mechs, right? Where they're just a CT and they don't care because it's just a CT left. Force withdrawal says, no, you have to leave now. There's nothing left. You need to go home. And that really helps with the clan versus Innisphere balance. Well, even Innisphere, because I said you don't have 2 medium laser, CT mechs walking around, just trying to kick each other to death because that's all you can do.
Yeah, but on the flip side, like clan, you take out a clan's torso and he can still do things, except he has 2 engine hits, which puts him in force withdrawal. So he has to move off the map.
Well, so Innisphere does too, because you lose a torso.
Well, the Innisphere loses a torso, you're just, your mech doesn't work. 3 engine hits, you're just broken. Like your mech is shut down.
Correct. On an XL, but on a standard too, you lose a torso.
2 torsos. Oh, no, just losing a torso. Yeah.
Just losing a torso.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, it's an equalizer for a clan to get them off the battlefield though. Like, because losing a torso for a clan is not the same as losing it if you're an Innisphere.
Correct.
Or ammo explosions. Like how do you do ammo explosions? Because by the rules, an ammo explosion, unless the person specifically said they shut off their their auto eject system, whether you've got case or not, ammo explosion goes, your pilot gets ejected. It just does it, unless there used to be a checkbox on the sheet, the record sheet, that says auto eject on off.
Oh,
yeah. So with case, they're like,
uses that rule, but it's there.
I do.
Well, I mean,
I do, but I've been playing since the '80s, so it's in the BattleTech manual.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
but it's one of those things. I'm like, oh yeah, it's in there. I read that totally.
Yeah.
I love force withdrawal. As much as crazy as it is, I think it needs work. It needs love. Catalyst game lag, please fix. But I like the concept. Mm-hmm. It's even better in Alpha Strike, but in Classic, which is what we're talking about, it's okay. So Summer Heat, people submit their list, and then what they do, we have MegaMek spit out a random list when those 2 guys get on the server. We have a server for people to use that has the MRC rules already integrated into it, or they could, host their own, right? And then we would post out it went out all month long. It was a month-long thing, so you played one game a week. You get your assignment, you work out with your opponent. Hey, I could play on this day, yada, yada. And then usually by Sunday, we required you to submit your stuff to us via an email. And then we tallied it all up. And after the end of the month, we had a winner. We had some losers, aka me, last place, because I had a banshee that just laid on the ground and cried, and it made me cry.
What's that? A banshee wailing? No.
Oh God, man, I was so disappointed in that banshee. Every match, 2 turns in, PSR, fail. Okay, and then they would fail every single one the rest of the match.
As a D&D player, I saw what you did, Josh. I acknowledge you.
Thank you. Okay. But no, the TO is never supposed to win.
Well, I wasn't trying to win, right? I just wanted my banshee not to do nothing, right?
Yeah, that's what you were. It was
I was
intentional.
excited. Yeah. Like, it's not about winning because, well, I was playing because we had an odd man out. We had 7 players.
Yeah. Yep.
And how I view going to a tournament is no one should have to do buys.
No.
Because when I did my run in 40K and going to tournaments, I was not great. I was not even awesome. I was at the bottom of the barrel, which is fine because I went there to roll dice. But because I was bottom barrel, I would get the buy when someone would leave or there'd be an odd man out. So I paid for 3 games and got maybe 1 or 2.
Ooh.
I hate that feeling, right?
Pay for the games, want the games.
So one of us, usually we hold an odd man out. We'll submit a list before the event, and that's what one of us TOs will run if there's an odd man out. Because
You're the ringer.
Yeah, we're the ringer. I mean, I want people to play. Again, it's about playing. Like, I didn't mind losing. It's par for the course. But man, did I not want my banshee just lay on the ground and cry. I wanted to at least shoot something. But we had 7 players. It was a really good turnout for me trying to spread this across the internet in short notice. We just put out the announcement like in a couple weeks before July. We had a lot of people interested. Only a few people submitted list. And as a fellow TO, I'm sure you understand. I know you understand that problem of people getting to submit list.
Maybe 10, 20%.
Yep. It's low. It's ridiculously low. But out of that, we had a wide variety of different players. We had everyone from we had Draconos Combine player, a Federated Sun, ShadowHawk Republic, Ghost Bears, Fed Sons, Wolves, and Mercenaries all represented.
Oh wow!
It was set in Jihad era. I'm surprised we didn't get any Word of Blake players or anything like that. We didn't though.
We did. He just brought a nuke. That was it.
We did have a local tournament where our Word of Blake player brought the Omega. And that was crazy.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a ringer in that one because I wanted to fight it because it was insane. So, but they played over the course of the month. And then, like I said, we got a winner after it. We calculated all by the VV scores. You'll see it's in the rule sheet for those, or the rule packets for those who may want to check that out. All our numbers and math is right there. You can figure out exactly how we score things. There's nothing to be hidden or anything. And then the top list was, where is it at?
We got, what is it? 2 Wolverine 7Ks, 2 Thug 11Es, and 2 Oscout 7Ks. And reading that, I don't know what to think about BattleTech anymore.
Hey, mobility is important. That's what that tells me. Mobility and PPCs. That's
PPCs and to
SRMs.
Be fair, that man did not miss. Okay, like looking back at his combat logs, because what you do for MegaMek, you send us the combat logs. That way we can make sure everyone's using what they're supposed to use. But we get to watch. I get to read the whole battle.
Yeah,
it spits out every movement, every time you talk, everything. It spits out everything. And I watched, and that man did not miss. 4 games in a row, he did not miss, and there were headshots galore.
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
How are we going to win? We're going to roll more 12s. That's
holy cow! I have never seen more headshots in person than doing that summer heat tournament and watching MegaMek pick out 12s.
Some people say that happens too much. I know that it's as random as a computer program can, but playing MegaMek, it does seem like there is a really high number of headshots.
It loves 12s. I just know that. I won't say that it cheats because I know it doesn't.
Exactly.
Man,
I know it doesn't.
Does it
I think
roll
it's just
12s?
I think it's just we see so many dice rolls all at once.
Yeah.
Because you can go through a whole game in 40 minutes instead of 4 hours.
Yep.
So it just compresses all that, and it just seems like you're seeing a lot more per game. But no,
and the ranked games since starting that, we've had a group of guys who've gone on there and been playing ranked games for the last month. And of course, they're submitting all those. And the amount of headshots has been astronomical. And I mean, those boys are killing it. I mean, they're going through Mechwarriors like it's candy.
Nice.
All right.
It's cheap.
And also, I learned that you need to watch the map because people have learned that swamps are terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, they're horrible.
Oh, man. The amount of people getting stuck in swamps has been glorious for me as a TO. But the frustration these guys have, I'm sorry. I hate to love it on it. But, man, yeah, because swamps are like, I'm stuck. How's that work? I'm like, well, here it is. And they're like, well, that's terrible.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Yes.
Do I hear Shrek?
Second place.
Swamp.
Hold on. First, I want to so what are the two Scouts doing? I know the Wolverines are large pulsing and double SRM16, and the Thugs are double PPC, double SRM16. That's rock solid. But what are the two Scouts with tags doing? Because they got no weapons, just tag, and there's
kicking people.
Kicking
what?
People. Yeah,
kicking people.
Getting into rear arcs and kicking.
Yeah, knock them over.
PSRs.
The lightest mech can knock over the heaviest.
That's right.
And MRC, because most of it's centered around our Middle Tennessee group, melee is, I don't say king, but boy, do we like to scrap. MRC brings we're just going to kick everyone to death meta around. We're just going to push you off hills.
Yeah.
At NashCon, we had these lovely maps. I know you viewers at home can't see, but it's got lava. And we have battle armor for the first time at NashCon. So people...
Oh, I heard about this.
People were literally throwing their mechs into the lava to kill the battle mechs. Or
It happened at least twice.
One guy, there's one of these mod pools has a level 2 next to it, got kicked off the level 2 onto the lava with the battle armor on it. Almost like Terminator style. He fell down doing the thumbs up and everything, It was, I mean, these boys who come out and play with us are, they're bloodthirsty. I know a lot of other metas and locals, they tend to be very snipery. And I think it's because I play really terrible maps on them that require them to, not stand back and shoot each other because their terrain won't allow it.
Mm-hmm.
Has really divulged let's get in and let's punch each other to death, sock 'em, bock 'em, robot. Which is fantastic for me because, again, I get to read all this and watch all this. I'm enjoying it. I'm not sure the players necessarily enjoy it 100%, but I'm running the event, so...
No, it's great. And you wanted to talk about the second place list?
Oh, God, the second place list. Okay, the second place list was two urban mechs with Aero IV, two Stalker 7Ds, and a ShadowHawk 2H. So this list basically was drop Aero IV on your head. And it took second place. I actually got to play against this match, and it was rage-inducing because my Banshee went from I'm perfectly fine to I need a medic, just like that, and laid on the ground, just took Aero IV. The Stalkers, man, ERPPCs and medium pulse lasers, so they just sit back and just guard the urban mechs.
They have targeting computers.
Yeah, and they just don't care because they're Stalkers, first of all. Oh, man, that was an awesome list. 10 out of 10, but it just reinforces my fact that I don't like artillery in my BattleTech. I know that's a hot take, but that's just my opinion.
I just love you have all that, and then you have the regular lowly intro tech ShadowHawk. Yeah, no, the 2H, just
Is this a school bus?
We'll say it was there to screen.
School bus. Yeah.
What it would do is, what I saw is it basically would flank, right? And it was a mech on the flank, even though it's a ShadowHawk. You don't want a mech behind your rear, right? So
it's Grayson Death Carlisle himself.
Yeah, that's right. That's the model. That's a variant. Yep.
And you just didn't want it. Or if you tried to flank, he would go out there and intercept you and try to tie you up, right?
Okay, all right.
I mean, an 11-point kick is not nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I for a fact watched him kick my Wolverine's head in. It was uncomfortable because I happened not look at the map right, and he was a level higher than me. But watching him play the other players too, that's what he would do. He would use that as that optional. I can use this guy to jump around and get anywhere I need to be in a couple turns to put pressure or relieve pressure on my Stalker / urban mechs.
Yeah, I mean, it's got good enough mobility. It's a 5.83, so it's It's got good range on, good bracket, and it's heat neutral, like heat negative, I should almost say.
Heat
So
negative.
it's like, and it's still
Cold
got
as
enough armor.
ice?
It's got 152 armor, so it's like,
Well, yeah. Every shot that they shoot at the ShadowHawk, they're not shooting at the urban mechs or the stalkers.
that's true.
Yep.
And the Stalker with a target computer ERPPC is going to hit you. Jesus.
What was worse is I took spiders and I tried to get back there to poke at the urban mechs, and of course the stalkers sat right next to it, and of course they have medium pulse lasers.
Mhm.
It's a targeting computer. And I'm like, I got this. They'll just jump 7. No big deal. It's a team of 4. No. It's a shot out of the sky. A blazing ball of fire. And I was like, oh.
Because you get that -3 with the pulse and TC.
Yeah, it's rough. It's one of those variants when people meme about the Stalker. They're like, the Stalker is, ammo explosion, fireworks central, tinderbox. I'm like, well, yes, if you get out of Fourth Succession where you get this mech.
Yeah.
And this mech does not make friends.
Dustin, how did your Stalker go on, was it Saturday?
Oh, very poorly. I brought the one with hardened armor and Alpha Strike. So it had 4 inches TMM 0. I immediately got tied down by some flamer battle armor of some description. It was a waste of points. It got cut.
Yeah.
Poor Stalkers. They're either gods or they're garbage.
Well, they're just a generic assault mech, and because they're generic, there are other mechs to do what they can do better. But man, they're a big old slab of meat, and even the XL ones are a big old slab of meat with a lot of guns.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm on the pro Stalker bandwagon.
Pro Stalker.
There is a huge there's a constant debate in our Discord about Stalkers, whether they're garbage or not, and I'm on pro Stalker team because it just works. It's not going to win you the game. It's like an Orion. It's not going to win you the game because it's just an Orion, but
It's just solid.
it's just solid.
It's just Krinsky himself.
Yeah, I can't talk. I'm on the ShadowHawk train. Like I know they suck, but I love them so much.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to number 3. I think this is Chandler's from on
This
New
is
Origins.
Chandler's.
Yeah.
Yep. He brought a Star Slayer, 3C, a Tarantula, 3A, Orion 2M, ShadowHawk 2H, the Wolf Trap 1,
Wolf Trap. Wow.
and a Hussar 200D.
It's a weird, like, all-rounder list.
Yes. And we have a 6 unit cap in Classic for our format. So he maxed it out, and he used that initiative bonus of usually having 1 up on his players to map control.
Yep.
That's
There's a lot of
something,
mobility on this for sure.
That is something our local. I've been trying to teach new players in our local that you can have all the armor in the world, you can have all the guns in the world, but if you are outnumbered and you are in a corner, you're going to lose. Backing up is not the solution for your snipers because you're going to run out of map and they're just going to circle you and then
Or push you off. Yeah.
or push you off or whatever, right? But map control, especially because we tend to throw RNG maps on MegaMek, or like in person, I'm playing the 2-keyed maps or the crazy crystalline or some of the custom maps I have. They're just bananally, they're just full of different terrain. You need to control the map, even without an objective. Even if the objective is to murder each other. I have found if the people who can control the map and cause flanks and cause people to react to wherever they move are usually the people who do really well in our format. And Chandler was one of these people. He just was very solid, very good at the basics. There's nothing outstanding on his list, crazy. Star Slayer is pretty wild. Tarantula is pretty wild in my opinion.
I mean, Tarantula 8, 12, 7 with 2 medium pulses. Like,
yeah.
That's a spider, but
Yeah.
It's a legit spider, though, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said, it was no huge heavy hitter. It was a team work together, and he just would push in and kind of shuffle around until he saw an opportunity, and then he pounced on something. Either you got a mech out too far on a flank, or he saw a point where he can get behind you, and now you're fighting enemies everywhere. So he did really well. I didn't get to fight him though, but it looked like a really fun list.
Okay. Do you have the name of the number 1, number 2 person, or
that would be first place would be Brad N, and then second place would be Trolls. Shout out to you guys. You guys did good. Shout out to all our players. They all did fantastic because it was a lot of trial and error on our part as TOs. Because we are not familiar with MegaMek, but
yeah,
a lot of fun.
I think trying to figure out how to do missions, like if you could pre-program or like have a script mission, like.
Well, and we've been wanting to do more MegaMek tournaments. We've been trying to, in our spare time that we do get a chance to do MegaMek stuff, figure out how to do missions. Because, we do have a few missions, MRC missions that we've written up. But we just don't want every MegaMek tournament to be murder. As fun as that is, adding a little variety would be better.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, we haven't figured out how to do it yet. And so it's on our work to do. But we will have more MegaMek tournaments in the future. There's probably going to be one this winter. Cough, cough, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Southern heat turns into winter chill, or?
Yeah. Well, initially we're going to try to do one once every quarter. So four of them a year. Next year will be at least 4 of them a year. That I will be involved. I know there's some people talking about doing some on their own with our help, but they'll run it. So we'll see.
All right. So that was Summer Heat in the MegaMek tournament. Yeah. So let's talk the in-person tournament at NashCon. So y'all did Alpha Strike on one day and Classic on the other day, if I remember correctly.
Okay, yeah. So NashCon, it's a 3-day event in Nashville, Tennessee. Everyone should come. Cough, cough, wink, wink. If you're listening, you're invited.
I was born near there.
Were you?
I was Kingsport, but it's
close. No,
close enough.
Yeah. That's close enough for government work, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Denham was born there when dirt was invented, and
I'm a Tennessee boy. That's right.
What we do for the last 2 years, I've been running it for last 2 years now. Is Friday night or Friday is usually come play. The doors are open in our room. Come play anything you want.
Nice.
But we've had 2 different types of narrative events, different each year. We try to make it a narrative focus for that today. And then Saturday is a classic tournament. And then Sunday is an Alpha Strike tournament. Both MRC, because that's what I run. This last year, 17 players for classic and about 10 for Alpha Strike. I think it's because Alpha Strike's on Sunday, and everyone is tired after 2 days of BattleTech.
I understand.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, we do usually have more people sign up for Alpha Strike, but after like the second day of class, they're like, "I'm done. I'm just gonna go home because my brain is melt and I am glue."
Me no think good no more.
Yeah, but we this is our biggest turnout. The year before that, we had about 10 players. So almost close to that double mark I was hoping for. Didn't quite get there. Next year, we're going to get there. We're going to have a lot more. I sure hope so. Getting a bigger room, so I better feel it after hounding someone for 2 years about it. But what it is that we do the MSC format. You come in. I guess it's kind of the same thing as we talked about the other stuff. And they run Friday, we do our narrative events. Saturday is the classic. It's Alpha Strike Sunday. Our narrative events have been absolutely phenomenal. I dare say they're more fun than the tournaments. Didn't intend that to be, but the first year ended up being we did basically a trial of possession for the local area. What happened is tying back into our faction ranks and our combat scores and all that stuff in the system is part of the MRC is you can fight for real world territory. So, for example, Middle Tennessee is broken into 7 regions. We've broken it up.
Did it for the Sea Bills.
And then our local players or anyone who's part of the MRC can go, hey, my faction is invading this faction's territory. To set that all up, though, we had to figure out who owned it initially. So we basically had Clan Ghost Spare, because we have a lot of Ghost Spare players, go, it's all ours. We're taking it all. What are you going to do about it? So Friday, we let people come in and play ranked games and for various territories, and that would decide the initial Middle Tennessee region thing. Ghost Bears ended up taking the vast majority of the territory with Mercenaries holding 2. And then that's played off all year. We've had some back and forth that tied into this year's event, which is a continuation of that, because one of our territories was actually the international starport of Nashville Airport. Was owned by Ghost Bears, and the Word of Blake players said, no, it's ours now. And so the players played all month, because what it does, it's a month-long event. The events can all count. Played ranked games, played tournaments, whatever they wanted to do, submitted their scores, and then ended up being Word of Blake players took it over with the help of some mercenaries. Our mercenary players played up their roles. Who's giving me money? I'll play whoever. Give me the money.
I love everything about this.
Yeah. One of our big mercenary groups is North Shore Conglomerate. It's one of our players. He's made a custom mercenary that owns a planet off the periphery somewhere, but the North Shore Conglomerate was a big proponent in helping Word of Blake take this. And so this year's narrative event was, after a year of occupation by the work of Word of Blakeists, North Shore was tired of their planet being run by Word of Blake. So it ended up being it was a 6 versus 6 Friday night event of Alpha Strike with 16,000 points total over 2 4x8 maps that were linked together with their various objectives.
I love it.
And so it was the Word of Blake side. When players came, they really didn't get to pick a side unless they brought like Celestials. Then obviously the TO, because I didn't run it, I actually got to play in it, was going to put them on the Word of Blake side because that just makes sense. But he divided the players in half. Half are the mercenary coalition coming to kick the Word of Blakeists off this planet. The other half are the Word of Blakeist sympathizers. And we played for hours. And one side, the board I was on was a 4x8 board, city board that this guy had made. One of our local guys, he made 2 boards, custom boards. Had long-time artillery on it. And my job as the coalition was to defend the artillery so it could shoot at the Blakeists on the other side. So we got to use the actual, because we had both sides of the room. So we actually got to measure in distance the time it would take in turns. We got to use that crazy rule. It was super exciting. Long story short, it was a massive Alpha Strike game that was just all team. It turned into this crazy tactical. Teams were huddled up trying to figure out strategic. Like the attackers on our side we're expecting us to shoot the long toms on the help our allies, and then we realized, we could just turn our long toms and shoot the buildings that they're hiding in, and commit some war crimes, but keeps them away from us. We were the long toms were on a hill in the center of the map surrounded by woods. Well, they turned around and set the woods on fire. So we're fighting in the smoke and the fire, and it was just crazy. On the other side, if you get a chance on our Discord, there's the NashCon section for anyone who wants to look at. There is a thread that has all the pictures. It's just a lot of units, and it is glorious. It's probably one of the most fun things I've done in BattleTech to date, which is not saying a lot because I'm still a newbie. But that's what we do on Friday. We do a narrative event. Next year, the talk, which I'm not committing to yet, just letting everyone know, though, is we're probably going to reenact the fight on Terra between Amaris and Kernsky.
Opening engagement.
With the potential of hiding the tables between players. So double blind kind of stuff.
Oh, no.
I'm not going to run it, but that's the boys are like, we're going to go big or go home. Like, you go big or you go home. Do it. I just want to play. Friday's my day to play,
Oh,
and then, awesome. So we have that, on Friday. And then on Saturday, bright and early in the morning, after we've been up all night playing Alpha Strike and drinking beers and having a good time, we get up and we play a tournament of Classic. It was crazy. There was definitely some people throwing people into pools of lava on the last round, which is something I can check off my BattleTech bucket list of seeing happen. It was some really interesting list. If you guys want to talk about the list particularly.
So, first off, what were the general, the Summer Heat MegaMek was all just kill versus kill, but the NashCon Classic tournament was actually missions, right? There was
They were missions. One of them was like a domination. There's a couple points on the map. One of them was murder each other, because you need a good murder each other in there.
You always got to have a murder each other mission.
And I'm almost certain, I need to look it up again. I'm pretty sure there was like a capture the flag.
Okay.
But there was 3 different objectives. The big thing we did in NashCon this year that we're trying to experiment with for the greater MRC is secondary objectives. So what this was, it was a list of objectives, kind of like the ITC does for 40K, that you can pick to help your objective score based on what your opponent's got. One of them was like, okay, have your mech take 40 points of damage and survive. One of them was like, have the high ground. One of them was like, kick on assault. We had a list of various things that were just ways you could interact with the map, and you can interact with your opponent. You get to pick them every round. So, on top of the normal mission, you have these secondary objectives that you could pick and fine tune your list versus your opponent's list as when you saw it, and hopefully get you the objective win.
No, that sounds awesome. So let's just break down the number one list.
So the first one would be his name's Chip, or the King, as he's known on the MRC. He brought Nightstar 9J, a Highlander 734, Crusader 6M, Spider X, and some Grey Death recoilless rifle squad. He's known for bringing some big punchy mechs. He's a local guy of us, and he usually brings something that likes to punch you in the face. This time he brought 2, the Highlander and the Nightstar.
That Nightstar it's vicious.
It's a Nightstar, right? It's just all you can say about it.
And the Nightstar, the Highlander, and the Crusader are all 3/4. And
correct.
The Spider 8X is a 4/4. So this is a spicy elite, put Gauss rifle rounds through your cockpit list.
Most of our stuff at MRC, because we run at 9K, which is a little higher than most people run, that we find that's a nice balance between Innisphere blobbing out you with hordes of mechs and clan players actually getting to bring some bigger mechs. Plus,
it's like over 3 mechs. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but it tends to bring 3/4 tends to be our average.
Okay.
Yep.
You'll see people run other ones, but 3/4 on the average is what everyone tends to run, even clan wise.
If you're at 9K, you're not getting there's almost like a return curve. Yeah. So It's like, okay, I could add more tonnage and more weapons at this point, but then I'm losing out on mobility, so I'm actually getting less for my BV. So by that point, I should just pump it into my skills to make what I'm taking better.
Yep. We've seen a lot this year, speaking on this, because this is kind of, NashCon is one of our big events locally, we've seen a lot of this year Innisphere players versus clan players. And all of our clan players have gone Innisphere this year, whereas last year they went which was at 9 or 8K last year, they went clan. I think they were just trying to experiment on which side they would like to be better, because usually with Innisphere, you usually can bring 5-6 mechs versus the 3, 2, maybe 4 that most clan players like to bring. So they like to bring their big, heavy mechs.
I can only fit 2 Turkinas in this list. This is not enough points.
We had someone who was going to try to do that, and we're like, good luck with that, because there's that map control thing we're talking about.
And what do you feel about like battlefield support points, about other people bringing in, their own air units or artillery?
BSPs I'm a fan of, because we used BSPs this year. It was 5 for the whole event.
It's fantastic, right?
I love it. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know about the number. Like, I think the way I did it was a little weird for players because they had to keep track after every round. But I wanted them to feel like, okay, this is, you decide every game what's important. Do you want to use it now? Do you want to use it later? I wanted that mental, tactical feel to using our BSPs this year. But I love them. I mean, it's interesting that we had some play of minefields, and they don't work like people think they do.
Yeah.
I'll just mine the objective. Okay, well, now I'm sitting on the objective and they don't do anything. So
Right.
The big kicker that I didn't expect to be such a game changer was smoke artillery.
Right. Yes. Yes.
I mean, that is game changing.
I believe we talked about that on one of our podcasts, that the smoke artillery is so cheap, but like, you want a forest, instant forest, you can't see me.
We've had we had a local player when we first were experimenting with BSPs, saved them all to the last round and then dumped 3 of them across the map and just sat in it and made his opponent come to him and won. Like, as a TO, you're going to have to watch how you use smoke. We've tried to curtail that a lot, but it's, as a TO, pro tip out there for any future TOs, watch how you let people do smoke artillery, because there is nothing more game-changing than a smoke artillery, especially if you let them drop multiples. MRC uses 2 map sheets, so it's relatively already kind of a close battle, and you drop a smoke artillery or 2, you've basically taken 2/3 of the map and just deleted it. It don't matter anymore, because they can't shoot through the smoke, and then if you sit in the smoke, there's all that TMM and all that stuff too.
The audience cannot see me nodding my head in agreement with you. It's not
nod.
Yeah. No,
I think we all mentioned Josh wants to take the 5 Thumper Snowick rounds, but
yeah,
Josh also wants to play with people at the next tournament.
Well, I mean, to be fair, there's got to be one guy who has to do that for a TO to go, oh, yeah, that wasn't good. And it's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's kind of the thing. Yeah. Like, it was interesting from a TO's perspective. I was like, oh, okay, well, yep, that's a thing.
Yeah,
So
I mean, like, we're learning as we go. The more events we run, I mean, this game has only been around for like 37 years. We're in its infancy for these. No, for organized play is a whole brand new thing. It's a whole brand new thing.
That's the thing, is like, we have MRC starting up, you have BTCC, you have WolfNet is around, you got all these other little formats. You have Brooklyn, it's been doing its own thing, Calgary, it's been doing its own thing, Tulsa, it's been doing its own thing. All these little groups, and they're doing their own thing. But like, for group play like that, it's when you go out there, you go, okay, what should I expect? And everyone's like, well, here's what I've seen. Well, here's what I've seen. Everyone's different, because everyone's meta is different, and all their players are different, and there's no set in stone stuff. And it's interesting how we have to, like you said, okay, it's been around for 30 years, okay, but we're still figuring it out, because this is an area I don't think has been explored. It's history. You had MechForce, you've had tournaments before,
which once again was created before the internet was really a thing. So it wasn't designed around people being able to communicate across the country or world. You had to mail things in. You had to like physically mail things in. It was a crazy time, and that's all we knew.
And it's glorious. Like, I need to find more of the MechForce stuff, like all the quarterlies and stuff, and read.
I've got some of them. I got a pile if you want to start going through some of them.
I'll love to go through them, because I like to see how it was done back in the day. Just because I would like to try to take that's our inspiration for MRC. Our bones is MechForce, so I would like to try to grow that back to what MechForce was, because when I say MechForce to someone who's around when MechForce was around, they get a big smile and they go, "Oh yeah, that was awesome," and I want to recreate that, because I think we need it now.
I think we could do it way better now.
Well, we could.
We have the technology.
We do.
Man, if MegaMek had existed back when I started.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine?
No, I like to go back to the list. I like the Nightstar. I mean, like I said, it's 2 Gauss rifles and more fun. Classic Nightstar. I mean, they made the best one, the first one. Like, there's no getting around it. The Highlander, like, it's just the upgraded, so it's got Gauss rifle and more flavor. And the Crusader 6M with a whole bunch of MMLs and streaks. Like,
yeah, I like the MML Crusader.
The MVP of that list was none of those mechs.
The Spider. It was 100% the Spider.
100% the Spider.
100% the Spider. Looking at this. Yes. Mobility, jump behind, punch in the head, spider.
Is this the tag spider?
No,
No.
this is a medium pulse.
Oh,
2 medium
yep.
pulse.
Yep. Jump
Yep,
behind.
2 medium
and
pulse. This is the one that my brother runs, and it is amazing.
Partial wing. Yeah.
Partial wing too.
Yep.
Yeah, as I say.
Yeah.
So it jumps and it goes and it's just there. And
if you play with quirks, it doesn't even have to jump in a straight line.
Another big thing we've seen in the MRC meta, speaking of spiders, is the Scarabus. I had to talk about the Scarabus for a moment. Against tangent, I know we're talking about this, but Scarabus.
No, we can save it for the number 2 list, which has the Scarabus.
Okay. Oh, look at that! How convenient.
So you mentioned the Scarabus, but the number 2 list had those. So let's move on to the number 2. That was. Do you have the player, and I can do the list?
It was Toby. He's another local guy.
Okay. They took 2 Wraith TR1s, 2 Scarabus 9As, a Pillager 3Z at 3-4 gunnery piloting, and a Centurion 9AH at 4-5.
That's the classic Centurion, right? The AC-10, the one with the AC-10 and the medium laser. Yeah, it's got AC-10, 2 medium lasers, and...
One forward,
it's
one
got LRM and AC-20.
LRM-10? Oh, okay.
Oh, this is the 20 variant? Okay.
Yeah, that's that one.
Yep.
Big gun go fast.
My brother's favorite.
It's like the early Yen-Lo Wang variant.
Yes.
But yeah, so...
Now, this list was interesting to watch because all you have is really one big boy, and that's the Pillager.
I mean, Pillager's still good, though.
No, I'm saying, but it's something different than you look at. For like the first place list had 3 pretty big boys, beefy boys, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of hate. This one was all about the mobility.
Yep.
The race with their large pulse lasers and medium pulse lasers and jumping, they go wherever they want. Scarabuses have been a staple locally for us, and the cult of Scarabus is almost as important as the cult of Spider. Because again, our local is very melee oriented. There's usually kicking, there's usually punching every game somewhere, because people bring fast jumpy boys, or bring Scarabuses, which move like have a movement of 15, and there's one that's can run even more. I think it's got a mask. But it gets anywhere it wants on the board. The one that people like to use is the one that has triple strength on it. So they'll just shoot all the lasers in the air and run towards you and hit you in the back repeatedly, and you cannot run them. You can never escape them. It's like a horror movie, really.
Yeah.
And
suddenly those 2 rear-mounted lasers on the Battlemaster are a good idea.
If you can hit it after it ran across for a TMM of like 8,000.
Yeah.
Usually they have a TMM of 4 or more in most of our games, because people, what they'll do is they'll run to a target, they'll smash it with their axe, and they'll turn around and go to another target across the map. So they're getting max TMM.
Yep.
Every time.
Yeah, and just ping pong back and forth. That meta was really strong season 1. Like, they were everywhere because a lot of our players didn't know how to deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
This year, people have learned pulse bolts or pulse lasers are your friend.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And targeting computers are your friend, because we're also playing in a later era.
Yep.
So you don't see nearly as many Scarabuses, but it's like I said, the Spider. It's one of those mechs that just runs up there and it's there in your rear. Okay, it's there, but you can't ignore it.
Gundam.
So what do? You turn around? Do you run from it? Well, now you have a big Nightstar or a Pillager standing off on the hill. Just, hey, have some Goss now on your rear because you turn around to fight the Scarabus, or you're out of position now because the Scarabus is threatening your rear, or whatever, or playing the objective because they have arms. They can carry things like flags. So
yeah, they're just there to make up messier plans.
I'm a big fan of that mentality.
But no, that's an awesome mobility and like melee harassment list, and I don't want to fight it because I know I would be angry the entire time.
It did not make friends. It did not make friends at all.
All right, let's move on to the 3rd place list for NashCon.
3rd place would have came to a local player, David. You guys might know him. He also is part of the BTCC
BattleTech Tournament Championship Circuit.
Thank you. He is a local player, but he also is heavily involved with the creation and formation of that circuit. If you look at both circuits, you can see they were the influence on both, because they've had some really good ideas that hopefully for season 3 we're going to try to reincorporate, and vice versa. But if you played at LVO, or you're going to play at LVO, or you played at ACO, you played something that Dave has had the honor of creating and running. But he came 3rd place for us at our NashCon. He was running a Battlemaster 4S, which is typical for him. He loves his Battlemasters. Galagus, 2 GLS, a Tempest 3 MA, a Mongoose 76, and 2 Anisphere standard battle armor squads with the recoilless rifle. Everything was 3-4 except for the battle armor, which was 2-3.
Nobody here likes mongoose, by the way. Like in our local area, like nobody plays No, that's not true. Like, we have
they're everywhere.
Well, somebody used one really well, Josh, and then other people who were playing in our group were like, "Oh, that's a cool light mech. If we have to take a light mech, I'll take that one." And now there's probably 5 or 6 Mongai running around.
Well, that's how it was for our Scarabuses. That's what I was kind of talking about. One guy took it, and everyone was like, last season went, "Oh, you can do that? Well, I want that." So I understand that all too well. This list I like this list. I like this list a lot, just because it's got some really cool mechs in it.
Yeah, you don't
can't ever go wrong with Battlemaster, Galagus, Tempest. Mongoose is a mongoose. I mean, he played really smart. There were some really interesting things. He used his BSPs really well. He brought 2 smoke thumpers, so he was able to smoke out a sniping nest or whatever he needed to do. And he had some really good rolls where, like, his Battlemaster just wouldn't die. It was pretty awesome.
It helps. It helps if your mechs don't die.
I mean, he was taking pounding from the Nightstar, and 2 Gauss rifles just, back to back, and the Battlemaster just didn't care. It was one of those moments, just kept standing and kept doing its thing.
I
it
paid
was really
for
exciting.
the armor. I'm going to use the armor.
Yes. I really like this list. This guy is really good with his list. He makes some really cool, innovative list in our local. He's always a blast to play because you never know what you're going to get, because he digs deep into the archives of craziness, because he's been playing a long time. So he can bring out some really weird things that a lot of our players haven't seen before. This is a pretty tame list for him, and it still did pretty well. So I was really impressed by this list, because it just works. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it other than it just works.
No, I mean, my first thought is none of these lists had any omnis for the battle armor. Like, the top list had the Gray Death that are 4 or 5, and I feel like that's more just like filler. But with David's list, you've got 2 light recoilless rifle IS standards at 2-3, so obviously those are a little bit more pricey then. So,
well, the issue he was using them for is he was using them to guard his mechs from other battle armor.
Okay,
right. So he would just have them babysit the Battlemaster, the Galagus, the Tempest, whatever happened to be kind of in the sniper-esque position of that turn or that game, and he would just have them there on standby. So they were there to scare off Scarabuses. They were there to scare off spiders. They were there to scare off fire moths. They were there to scare off anything that's typical to get back there and usually cause a heavy assault to hate life.
Yeah, but you allowed BSPs, so a bomb, like a light bomb, they just delete, battle armor of those sizes. Just gone, just one hit, just gone.
That would require the players to remember they have BSPs and use them.
Oh my, yeah, well, that's on them.
It is on them, and that's been a theme this year because it's been new to our players. Even some of our veteran players, it's been new.
Yeah, BSPs are new. Like they came out around the Battle Mech Manual. Nobody really paid attention to it, and I started using some in some of our local games, and everyone's like, "Hey, these are cool."
Yes.
So they've been gaining traction, but slowly.
And a lot of people I think are hesitant because the way we did it is once you use it, you can't use it the rest of the tournament.
Oh,
So-
wow. Okay.
They said when these guys went in, those like take Dave's list: 2 smokers, 2 light strike, and a light cover. That's all he got for 3 games. That's it. Once he used one, it was gone for the rest of the other games. So do you save it? Do you keep it? That was something we were experimenting. I was afraid I didn't want to become, okay, I have all these BSPs and it's just BSP BattleTech, not actual BattleTech. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Me as a TO, I played on the cautious side. I think next year I'm going to be a little more relaxed, and I hope people experiment with it and figure out what the happy medium is, because there's not a lot of conversation in it, even on a TO level.
I would say that you either give them like 15 points for the entire tournament or 5 points each mission, because 5 points isn't that much, but it can add some flavor to a game for sure.
Yeah, that's what I picked 5 because I just didn't want people to bring long toms, because long toms are 6.
You can always say long toms are not eligible.
Yeah, that's true. That was the option I chose, and whether it was the right one or not, I don't know.
TOs make the call whether it be the right one or the wrong one.
Oh,
it's usually the wrong one. Let's be honest. Okay, you can ask my boys back here. I ruin all the fun. All right, so it's usually the wrong one.
The important thing is to make a decision at the time, and then think about it in the off game period. Like that's when you think about if it was the right decision or not. But yeah, no, we'll figure it out as we go along.
That's right. I said I hope people use more. In any kind of format or casual play or anything, because I think they're a fantastic way to add some of the combined arms flavor. The the Tukid sourcebook has some for vehicles and infantry.
Mm-hmm. I'm a huge fan.
I've not used them yet, but I've heard nothing but good things about them. So for those players out there who are looking to find a way to do combined arms but simplify it where you don't need to know everything, that's out there, just so you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much worth the admission to the Tukid book, but also the Tukid book is just a fantastic scenario pack. It is really, really good.
Oh, it is, because those maps.
Yep.
Oh, I love those maps because they're so difficult. They're so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what can we glean from these 3 event lists? Like what I'm seeing is Gauss Rifle good.
Mm-hmm.
4 Gauss Rifle good. And super fast light mobility, like your Spider, your Scarabus, your Wraith.
Yeah, anything that has an 8 jump with a medium pulse laser is awesome. If you could fire 2 medium pulses and punch twice, from 8 hexes away, it's great.
Generally speaking, for our tournaments this year, we have seen majority of Innistrad players, mostly 3/4. Generally speaking, you have 2. On average, assault mechs of various caliber, some PPC boats or PPC heavy, some LRM heavy. It's actually pretty varied. NashCon brought a lot of Gauss, but the other tournaments brought some, but not a whole lot. Usually, mediums are probably the most not seen or underused classed in our format that I've seen so far. Which is a shame because I have some medium lists, and I know a couple other guys that have some medium lists that are, they're good. But
they're the typical workhorse, which means that they aren't always specialized. And if you're doing a tournament, you tend to go more for the specialized. But in real life, the mediums would by far be the most numerous on a battlefield.
The issue usually comes down to is the medium list do well until they run out of armor. Because they're medium mechs, right? They're all over you. They're doing damage. The attrition battle, obviously, they lose. Even now in some of our mission play, they've done better because obviously there's things they can do, like go capture things, go sit on an objective. But usually our average, like I said, is usually heavy in assault and then some fast boys.
Yep.
For mission grabbing and things, and it's kind of similar to what I've seen like some other like Nova and like ACO. Usually you had your anchor mechs, as I like to call them. You had your big, shoot things, heavies, assaults, and then you had some fast boys to go do fast boy stuff. Get behind rear, do objective runs. I think really you'll see that gravitate towards that. Locally, we've seen people, because we had one guy run an all medium list, and people were like, "Okay, mediums aren't trash." So we've been seeing Well, they just again, you lose the attrition battle, right?
Yeah.
If you're trying to throw them into the meat grinder. Most mediums are not going to survive a couple turns of hate.
Especially if you're restricting the number to 6 mechs or 6 units, then okay, I could take 3 or 4, heavy and assaults, and then a light, and then a battle armor. It's like,
so the problem that I see with mediums in this sort of slugfest thing is that they don't have the armor to withstand all the fire from a heavy, but they also don't have the speed to avoid the fire. So while they have weapons and can do some damage, they just do not have the staying power because they get hit more often and the damage affects them faster. So if you're doing a list for a slugfest, the medium is the first to go, unfortunately. Though in a campaign setting, they're probably the most useful. But in a battle setting, they just don't pull their weight, in my opinion.
it's a good thing
I
they're
think
not
it's map dependent.
True, but as somebody whose favorite mech is a ShadowHawk, I just know how often it comes up short for one reason or other.
Because that's
Either
a
it doesn't have enough armor.
ShadowHawk.
No. ShadowHawk with a Rack 5 is a nice mech. There are variants in the time period you're talking about where they are good.
Listen, if you're talking about 55-ton mechs, you're talking to a Kentaro main. All right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We're Kentaro, Wolverine. There's a couple. There's even some dervishes. Very, very good.
Right.
I have a MRC list that is 2 Wolverine 7Ks and 2 Kentaro Ks. That I will gladly throw into any. I will throw into the meat grinder on any day, and I think it's because I guess our local it plays very rough terrain, lots of terrain. That those have jump jets, so that's probably a big point to it. That I can get in there and I'm going to lose eventually, but hopefully I can kill you faster.
Right, but that's it. If they have the assault mech, then you're going to lose the attrition due to they have more armor. And if they're the fast light mechs, then yes, your pulses might hit every now and again. But if you've got a 4 gunnery base and they've got a TMM of 4 and they're in woods, you're already looking at a 10 if you were standing still. So like the mediums just tend to fall short just a little bit in those 2 situations.
That's
in my opinion. Again, what do I know?
No, a lot. You've been around
much.
since MechForce days. You've seen some stuff.
I've done some stuff. I'm not proud of it.
What would you do for a Klondike bar is the eternal question, though.
Play Davian? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't know if I can go that low. Ooh. I'd be for 2 Klondike bars.
So, all right, to wrap it up, if you had any advice to anyone who's wanting to do like either organize a MegaMek tournament or, just a real tournament, what would it be?
Find people who have been running it, have run it, or are running it now, and be like, "Hey, what would you do?" And don't
give me
be
all your notes right now.
Well, okay, I'll be 100% honest. Anyone could come up to me and say, "Hey, I want to run a tournament." I'm like, "Well, here you can copy and paste my homework. I don't care, right? Because in my world, you're organizing, which means you're trying to get BattleTech going more and more and more in your local area, and that means more people are playing BattleTech, and that's a win in my world, right? So,
yep.
Yeah,
and most of these guys I've talked to are very open about everything. They don't really care. I mean, here's what I used. Here's what didn't work. Here's what worked for me. What are you thinking? So really networking. It sounds weird, but networking. I mean, finding all these people in these various, small enclaves that they're hiding in and asking their thoughts and opinions. And on top of that, don't be afraid to fail forward, which means you may run it and it may fall apart. That's okay. Pick it up, keep going, because it takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of time to get a group going and to get any kind of momentum, whether it's narrative or tournament. It doesn't matter. It just takes you doing all the legwork, and eventually the players will come, like Field of Dreams. I mean, if you build it, they will come.
Right.
Yeah, it took about 3 years to get our local store to go from like 3 people up to like 20 people. So it takes time, but it does happen eventually.
It does, and the important part is to try to be as consistent as possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I even struggle with locally, trying to make sure you get tournaments out on time and all that stuff because everyone's busy in real life. But like I said, even if the event is a failure per se, just running events and being there, and I think Discord's a fantastic option, or any kind of networking, just in engaging people as often and as quickly as you can. Even if it's a simple, hey, here's what I'm painting. You might not have a lot of interaction, but just making sure people are still involved and they're still doing BattleTech-y stuff, even if they can't show up to events. Try to involve people as best you can in game and out of game.
Thank you again, Lord Carbon, for coming on and talk about what is the MechCommander Review Circuit.
No one knows what it is still. I gave you a flow chart and everyone's still like, this doesn't make any sense.
Talk NashCon, talk Summer Heat MegaMek tournament. Where can they find you / where can they find the MechCommander Review Circuit?
So we have a Discord of our own. It's the MRC hub. You can find more information than you ever wanted to know about MRC and what we can offer to you as a player and to your local group if you're interested. We have a fancy website. By fancy, I mean functional. It's mrcbattletech.com. It's not really inclusive of everything we do, but long story short is you probably should join the Discord if you're interested, because that's where we do most of our bread and butter of talking with the community, a lot of our conversations about what's coming up on events and what to expect of changes to our season. Season 3 starts January, so we got big changes going on there. If you have any input, we're looking for input and feedback and thoughts and feelings and theses. We're looking for it all. So that's where you can find me.
Yeah, and I'll put the link for the MechCommander Review Circuit, mrcbattletech.com in the show notes, and I guess I'll have a link to your Discord as well, if that's the main way you want people to, hop in.
Yeah, you can also email. I said there's an email, I think, on the MRBC website, or if not,
there's a contact.
It may work now, it may not. If it depends if I've defeated the spam bots or not. So again, that's why we say Discord, because we had a nice fancy contact email and the spots won. I've learned more about cryptocurrency through bots than I've ever wanted to know. But hey, there's that. And thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun.
No,
fantastic.
You. And hopefully I can catch you and we can play a game in the whatever winter MegaMek tournament.
Whatever fancy title we give it. Yeah, I don't know yet. I mean, I got to make it through Southern Salt first, man.
Oh, yeah.
We got to focus. I got to represent.
All right. Who wants to send us home? I'd like to thank Fortress Miniatures and Games for sponsoring our main segment today, and after this comes out, you have less than 2 weeks for the biggest BattleTech tournament in the United States. So come on down and register. It's not too late to get your shipment of armor, mechs, or battle armor in. Note, pilots not included. And I'd like to thank Ares Games Miniatures for sponsoring our Hobby Progress section by keeping your paint booth stocked with all the plastic, metal, and paint to cover up those rust spots. Till then, Mechwarriors, remember, in salvage, all things are possible.